Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. My name is Bhargavi and I'll be taking you through a series of videos where we will try to understand about Tableau and how it helps us to perform data visualization. So you can think of this like a crash course on Tableau, which should familiarize you with the tool to a very fair extent. Now, let's begin with looking at the overall agenda. What is it that we are going to cover as a part of this course? We will be trying to understand what is data visualization. We'll try to define it, understand the principles of data visualization, look at the installation of Tableau Public. Then we will start exploring the tool. We'll try to see what all are present in that tool, the start page, which is also called the welcome screen. We will look at the data source page and different options available to configure the data over there. We will look at what are the data types supported by Tableau. Try to understand the components and terminologies which are used. Understand about something called as the Show Me panel, different modes of connection, and we will be looking at the difference between dimensions and measures. We will also look at creating some basic charts in Tableau, like text tables and highlight tables. We'll understand what are generated fields and why are they required, how do they help us. We will look at some charts which come under comparative analysis to make a simple relative comparison, like bar graphs, circle views, bubble charts, dot plots. We will look at some charts that help us to show the shares or proportions, to perform part to whole analysis, like pie charts and stack bars. We will try to differentiate between discrete and continuous data and understand about discrete line charts and continuous line charts. Similarly, area charts. We're not going to stop there. We will also be looking at how to represent geographical data by using geographical maps. We'll look at a variety of maps like symbol maps, field maps, density maps. And we look at some concepts like how to sort the data in a particular sequence. How do we filter the data and remove what is not required? Keep only the necessary information, eliminate something that might not be required. We will also focus on a slightly advanced concept under filtering, which is called context filters. Then we will be looking at how to build a dashboard. So by then you would have learned how to create a variety of charts. However, in Tableau, we can create only one chart per sheet. Dashboard is a place where we put all these graphs together, we assemble them together and create a meaningful structure out of it. So if you think of each individual graph as a building block, then dashboard is a place where we assemble those blocks together and create a meaningful structure out of it. We will also learn about building stories in Tableau. It's more like presenting our work to the client. Finally, we will wind up the course by understanding how to save our work. Whatever we have created, how do we publish it and save it and share it with other people? So this is going to be the agenda of this particular crash course. Without much delay, let's dive into it. As you might have seen, we have quite a lot of topics to cover. However, I'm going to break it down into smaller chapters so that it will be easier for you to even refer back. You can go to that video where you might want to refer back and learn it again. Okay, so I think by breaking it into smaller videos, it will be easier for you people to follow along, complete your work, and also practice and refer back. So let's begin with the very basic question. We are talking about Tableau, but what is Tableau? It is a tool that is used for the purpose of data visualization. Then what is data visualization? Isn't it? We need to know what it is because that is what Tableau does. It is nothing but representing the data in a pictorial format. It is visual representation of the data. And why is it that we need it? Because we are living in an era where information overflow is happening. There's so much data being generated through so many sources. And if we have to look through each and every record and then come up with some inferences, understand the performance of the business, it would be a Herculean task. It's going to be impossible. That is where the data visualization tools come into play. Rather than going through the data, if we can somehow present that data in a graphical format as graphs, plots, charts, maps, views, visualizations, whatever you might want to call them, representing the data in a pictorial format will make it easier for people to understand the data and draw meaningful inferences, take data-driven business decisions. Because we have moved away from the traditional intuition-driven business decisions. That is no longer in place. From intuition-driven decisions, world has moved into data-driven decisions. So whatever decision is taken about the betterment or the performance of a business, it's all going to depend on data now. So presenting the data well, presenting it in a format that is easily understandable to others becomes the core for any business. And that is why there are so many data visualization tools out there in the market. Tableau being in the forefront. Now, why is it that we need visualization? Okay, how does it matter if we represent data as lines or bars or dots or maps? It's easier to absorb the data. Okay, for example, if I use the term water cycle, whether or not you are able to recollect each and every phase in the water cycle, whether or not you remember those terms, the nomenclature, I'm sure all of you have the image of a pond and clouds in the sky, arrow marks going up and rainfall coming down. Isn't it? The moment you hear the term water cycle, definitely you all have that image in your mind. Or for that matter, think of the periodic table that we had learned back in school. Right? Imagine if you had to learn about all the elements and if they were presented to you in a sequence. Imagine by hearting the atomic number and atomic weight of every element, if it was just given to you as just random text. Instead, what we were given was a beautiful, colorful representation of the elements. That also was difficult to learn, okay? But at least it was much better than presenting it in text format, right? At least it looked colorful. We knew the basic segregation of the elements. So that is the power of data visualization. It really makes life easy. So let's get into how we can create visualizations. Before that, I think the concept of why visualizations is easy. We can do a lot of things. We can detect the anomalies in the data. Outliers can be easily identified. Pattern matching can be done. Okay, all these things which will help us understand our data better. Now let's look at one particular graph. Look at this visualization. So the principle or the goal of data visualization is supposed to be to convey the information at a glance, to give you a high-level understanding about what they are trying to convey at a glance without putting much thought into it. So what do you think about this particular chart? It's a very good visualization because without much thought, at a glance, I understand that it is talking about injuries. Bumps, bruises, and breaks. It is talking about injuries. And not injuries that have occurred to any normal person. It is talking about injuries that players have suffered during a game season. Look at the attire of that person. Look at the posture of that person. So it is talking about the injuries during a game season. And the top left corner of any graph is a very important space, very precious. Because without our own knowledge, when we look at something without our own knowledge, our eyes are drawn towards the top left corner. That's how we've been reading and writing all through our life, right? So this space is important. You can give the most important piece of information here. Now the picture itself is speaking for this picture is speaking for itself, isn't it? one glance, I know it is about injuries, and I can also, when I slightly pay more attention, I know that most of the injuries have occurred on the knee, followed by that is the ankle. And here it is also giving us the ability to do a deep dive wherever required. It's not just giving you a high level picture and leaving us there. Now, if we want further information about any particular data point here, we can get that as well. So this is a static image, but dynamically, when people go to each point, you can give further information about it. Like if you look at head injuries, in total it is 96, well and good. But out of that, 87 injuries are concussion, 7 jaw injuries, 2 other. So wherever required, it is also allowing us to do a deep dive. That should be the goal of data visualization, to present a high level picture at a glance, and at the same time to allow to do a drill down, to go deeper into that data if necessary. And